let's start streaming and see what happens here. So,
all right, we should be live now.
For you guys in the hold up. Let me mute my audio. For you guys hanging out in the YouTube chat, I do apologize. We have actually been streaming for 15 minutes, but you guys weren't watching it because I messed up my stream keys. Don't worry, you didn't miss much. You missed me and Paul playing around with the audio a little bit, and me and Big Pod and Paul talking about our lousy internet connections. Other than that, how is sound? Let's do a sound check now that we are live. Paul, tell the YouTube chat good morning. All right. You guys in the chat. There's a little bit of an echo. Echo. Someone needs a headset. Will I? Yeah. So you got the speakers on. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll get that nasty feedback coming through the YouTube chat because of the delay and everything. All right. So sorry for those of you in the YouTube chat wondering where we've been. I started streaming at 1 after. Like I was 1 minute late. I started streaming using my usual YouTube stream key. Thought I was streaming. Me and Paul were sitting here chatting for a few minutes, and then I realized I wasn't really streaming. I was streaming with the wrong key. So we've got some strange. I know the issue. Paul, I think you're good. Hold on just a second. All right, did that fix the audio? I think some of the feedback you guys were getting were from me. Of course, I got to wait 20 seconds for them to answer because of the delay. Better? Okay.
Well, I muted, so maybe that's why.
Well, it may have been you two not being on earbuds, but there was definitely an echo effect on my end. But now it has killed my camera.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, you're not moving anymore.
Yeah. It's because I'm playing around with the settings. Yeah, I may have to restart my camera. Unplug it, plug it back in. We are so professional here at DistroTube.
At least you're not me with this grainy old camera.
Oh yeah. There any chance of my camera working right now? Of course not. Yeah, so I'm gonna unplug the camera, turn it off, turn it back on. But I had to play around with the audio settings. I mean, audio is more important than you guys seeing me. So.
Isn't technology wonderful?
Yeah. It's an easy fix. It's just, doing it live. That's why I don't do anything live most of the time.
Sorry about the big black coily guys, but it's my headphones.
I'm sorry, Paul. I had my earbuds out.
I said sorry about the big coily, but it's my headphones.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I can get my camera back up. What am I doing here? You know what? I think I'd have to kill OBS to get my camera back up. Hate to do that.
Reboot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I could just log out and log back into the window manager session here, but I definitely don't want to do that. We've already had some issues with the stream this morning. But it may be what I end up doing. If I go to the Zoom settings, video settings, obviously I have no video going. Let's try that. Okay. But that is still not giving me what I wanted. Alright, you guys watching the YouTube stream. I am going to stop streaming for like 5 seconds. I'm just going to close OBS and reopen it. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. And that did not fix my camera issue at all. All right. And did I kill Zoom? I think I killed Zoom.
Still hear you.
Okay.
We just had the DT logo in place of your face.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the second cam down too. Well, the second camera is behind me. Yeah, I could plug in the webcam. It's not a bad idea, actually. If I can get the webcam set up here. Good idea on the other camera. Whoever that was in the chat.
Oop, you lost Big Pod.
Yeah. Before it's over, we may lose everybody today. And of course, the webcam is not working either. Why?
I have a dirty secret. I'm running this on a Mac, so.
Well, the webcam kind of works, but I don't really have a place to set the webcam. I may have to play with this a minute. You are running a Mac. You're
Yes,
on a MacBook?
Yep.
Yeah, typically with this webcam, I would actually put it on some kind of boom arm or some kind of arm, because I really don't have any place to set this webcam on my monitors. Okay, I think that would work. The problem is, for me to get the camera to appear in Zoom, I once again have to stop the streaming. This is such professional quality live streaming this morning. So I now have working audio. I've got a camera, not my typical camera, but I have a camera. All right. Are we actually streaming on YouTube?
Yes.
Because we streamed for 15 minutes somewhere else earlier too. We don't know where that video went. I'm going to have to go through my video library later. And if that
it's
15
not there. Check it out already.
Yeah. And that is strange because I was using a legit key and we were streaming in OBS. I wasn't getting an error.
Someone else got to the stream.
That would be funny if it's on somebody else's channel. I've had that happen twice now, though, with the wrong YouTube keys in the last month, because that new dashboard system they have is strange. Like if you go into the classic dashboard, it'll give you one key, but if you go into their new layout, it'll give me a completely different key for the same stream. So which one do you use? Yeah, Telsaris is right. You must have crossed the streams at some point. That's right. we cross the streams. Yeah, that Ghostbusters taught us something. It's don't cross the streams. Yeah,
Indeed.
Buffering was because Firefox blocks autoplay. Yeah, somebody's having some issues with Firefox. All right, so after 30 minutes, of trying to get the stream up, we have working audio, working video, and we're actually streaming to YouTube. So, all right. Normally, I would be concerned that so many people were watching this train wreck of a live stream, but I've had so many of these. I'm numb to it at this point. I don't even feel the pain anymore.
It happens to everybody. I mean, I use Zoom with meeting rooms in a corporate environment, and not 9 times out of 10, but every once in a while, it's like, oh, you can't hear anybody. Oh, the camera doesn't work. Oh, this, oh, that. So, yeah. I'm sharing my screen. Can't you see it? No, I can't see it.
No. Well, the issues I have is, I do this patron chat once a month. So it's not like I have everything set up, ready to go, because I just did that video yesterday. So I'm always playing with the audio settings, the Zoom settings, getting the right input devices. Because, you've got multiple mics and multiple cameras and everything. Some of these programs like to choose the wrong input and output devices. Let's see. Checking out some of the YouTube chat here. Yeah, I picked a good day to come in late. Yeah, you missed absolutely nothing. So those of you that are a half hour late, you guys are right on time. So yeah, Firefox doesn't cause me issues except for some extremely specific corporate streaming services like Xfinity. Well, I have Comcast, Xfinity. But I don't really use any of those streaming services. I use Netflix. Netflix works fine in Firefox. So.
Okay, now let's find something good to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you got for us, Big Pod?
Oops, Big Pod's frozen.
Yeah, he's having some camera issues too, or maybe some networking issues.
Well, it's good now.
No. I don't think it's on my end this time, though, so.
Yeah, it's my issues.
Ooh.
Well, checking out a little bit of the IRC chat. Steph in the chat. Morning, DT. Good morning. I don't think they realize I'm streaming. I don't think anybody realized I was streaming. Yeah, Big Pod is now Frozen Pod. Yeah, guys, have you tried Redox? No. Somebody's asking what happened to Jitsi. Jitsi is still around. I just haven't. I've tried it in the past. Jitsi's okay, free and open source alternative to something like Hangouts. I did notice though the Jitsi desktop client that's in the AUR, if you're on an Arch-based distro, doesn't build correctly. So works just fine in the browser though. If you wanted to use Jitsi. Yeah. Big Pod's camera is like 10 frames per second. Don't hate on his camera. And what kind of camera are you using, Big Pod? Are you using the laptop camera?
Laptop camera, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those laptop cameras are not the best, but really the worst part about laptops is the built-in mics. Never use the built-in mic on a laptop.
This one has actually a good mic. It has a dual array mic, so it's actually quite good in comparison to most microphones on laptops.
Most built-in mics, if it's a built-in mic to a laptop or a built-in mic to a monitor, standalone monitor, it's garbage. Built-in mics
have a problem with placement more than anything.
And I do have actually mics on, actually both the cameras that I have plugged in and working right now. Even though I was having problems with video, I could switch outputs to their mics, and you would notice a substantial difference. The webcam that I'm actually using is a pretty expensive webcam, Logitech 922, and the microphone on that thing is one of the worst microphones you've ever heard for a $100 webcam. But again, it's a webcam. It's mainly you're interested in the video, not the audio.
Yeah, webcam microphones are the worst.
Mm-hmm.
They just grab everything in the room.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm using a laptop mic right now, so.
One day I'll have to buy myself a webcam.
Yeah, well, when you're in the market, it seems like these days everybody goes with the Logitech 920 or the 922. Yeah. And then they've come down in price. I want to say you can find them for 60 or 70 bucks these days. Probably because so many people are buying them. It seems like it's kind of the standard webcam to get.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Actually, I'm looking for a good cheap USB mic with monitoring capabilities. I was looking at the Samsung Meteor.
Yep.
It's under $100.
Yep.
It's mostly for work because, like right now, I can't hear myself and it's driving me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do about monitoring, Derek? Can you hear yourself talking into the mic?
Yeah, well, not right now because I've got these earbuds plugged into the speakers, but typically when I have these plugged into, yes, I'm monitoring what I'm, because this is plugged in, of course, to the USB interface.
Yep.
So
it's that Focusrite Scarlett that the box is right there.
Yeah, the Focusrite, this and
and that has direct monitoring, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, so these headphones are actually plugged into the Focusrite, and it's got a knob for monitoring where I can adjust the levels. So if I want to hear myself, I can crank it up to where it just bleeds through the mic into the. Or if I don't want to hear myself, I can tune that out too. Sometimes it can be. Sometimes you don't want to actually hear what you're saying. Let's see, sir, can you tell how you did your live streaming? Because I don't know how to stream with multiple people. Well, if you caught some of the earlier part of this stream, we are not the streaming experts here. But how do you get all these people on camera? You use a web conference software. I'm using Zoom. Zoom.us is the URL. Zoom.us. It's paid software. Well, you can use it for free, but if you use it for free, only 2 people can be part of the conference. The minute a third person joins, you guys are on a 40-minute time limit. So I actually have the paid version, the premium version of Zoom. I pay $15 a month for that. Still not bad. Once you have the paid version, though, as many people can join as want. There's no time limit or anything. If 200 people wanted to jump on right now, it would be fine. Zoom handles all that. That's why I use Zoom. You want free options, Google Hangouts. I don't like Hangouts. Hangouts, the video quality is not good. It just doesn't look good to me. Plus, there's a 10-person limit on Hangouts. Plus, it's a Google service. So not everybody will want to use Hangouts. Jitsi, somebody mentioned Jitsi a minute ago. It's kind of like Hangouts. It's free and open source software, though. And there's other alternatives out there. There's quite a few.
With Hangouts, do you get ads related to what you're talking about?
I don't use Hangouts that much. No,
but if you did, you'd get ads related. You talk about cars, then you get car ads.
Well, obviously, Google is providing you that service to data mine you, right? Yeah. So they can serve you better ads. Yeah. I mean, Google spends a lot of money on Hangouts to all those servers for Hangouts. They're making money off of it, right?
No, Zoom's pretty good. We use it at the office.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's proprietary software, but it works. It seems like it's the best option as far as the video quality and everything just looks really good. So it's got good screen sharing capabilities. Yep. Like on a multi-monitor system, I can screen share with you guys and tell it what screen to share. That way you don't see this gigantic triple monitor picture. Yeah.
On Linux too, the screen sharing is good. That's impressive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Linux client, I haven't used the Windows client for Zoom, but I've never seen anything that didn't work in the Linux client. So
it's completely the same client, as far as I see.
Yeah, and that's not always the case, unfortunately. Like I'm streaming in OBS. I know OBS lacks some features on the Linux client compared to their Windows client. Talking about conferencing software, Skype, at least traditionally, was the same way when Skype came to Linux. It wasn't exactly the same Skype that was on Windows. But I haven't used Skype in a long time. I don't know how Skype for Linux is these days. I hear it's gotten a lot better.
I gotta tell you something. Whole week I've been trying to get FFmpeg and OBS to run with Nvenc.
Yeah.
On Ubuntu, and still couldn't get it running.
That's tough. Yeah, that's.
I have come to the conclusion. If you wanna use Nvenc with FFmpeg on Ubuntu, use Arch.
Yeah. That's why
I did make it run with FFmpeg by itself. OBS still doesn't detect it for some reason. That's why, either use the Snap or choose a different operating system.
Yeah, you got to compile your own FFmpeg, and who wants to do that?
Did that? It's not actually that hard. It's like 20-minute compile. I added one flag for the Nvenc. I installed Nvenc codec headers, and I get no Nvenc. Been asking around OBS, Discord, and around FFmpeg Discord, even though IRC, even though those guys were really not helpful.
Yeah,
I must say those guys are really, really not helpful.
The OBS crowd?
FFmpeg guys.
Oh, the FFmpeg guys. Yeah, I imagine not.
They said a couple of things that were totally useless, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're trying to use proprietary software. I mean, we're trying to tack on all this Nvidia crap to make our cards work. So.
It's actually made to run Nvenc because they actually make their own Nvenc codec headers. And Nvenc runs with FFmpeg fine. OBS the problem.
And does it work with a snap if you do the snap instead of
and I use the same configuration, same config parameters, and no. Even use I downloaded the source for FFmpeg that they use in what is called apt, the apt source. Just added FFmpeg, not FFmpeg, the Nvenc. Had codecs installed. FFmpeg works with Nvenc. OBS still doesn't detect it.
Yeah. Well, I could have saved you some of that headache because I noticed too. Ubuntu 18.04, Nvenc, everything just worked. That was the last version of Ubuntu where everything just worked with the
that was
Nvenc.
Because before that, FFmpeg switched and separated Nvenc codec headers from the same repository as FFmpeg.
And that was
you have to build Nvenc codec headers by itself. So that's why Ubuntu guys don't actually put it together. And for example, it works on there but even their configurations don't work on Ubuntu. So my current thinking, it isn't actually FFmpeg problem, it's actually OBS problem.
And some of that, of course, is probably not something the Ubuntu guys did. They didn't remove Nvenc. It's just from upstream. Those guys took it out. And they're just using the Debian
what OBS source code.
Yeah.
So I have to change some stuff in OBS source code, which I'm, to be told, not gonna do.
But so many people use Nvidia cards, and because of the kind of distribution Ubuntu is, where it tries to make things as easy as possible, you think somebody would repackage FFmpeg.
That's why Popey made Snap.
Yeah.
This was actually like a thing I was doing for Zeb. He, in one of the streams Rocco made in the middle of the week, he kind of dared me to make OBS, NVENC, and FFmpeg work on Ubuntu. And I figured it's kind of hard, and currently I blame it on OBS.
Well, I mean, I guess you could build OBS, but why, again, why go through the trouble of...
Even built OBS doesn't work.
Yeah.
Probably have to change a couple of stuff in the source.
But as a long-time Nvidia user, I can tell you, like, in the last couple of years, if you want NVENC working right away...
Go Arch.
Arch. Or BigPod's second favorite distro, Fedora, is really good. You got to enable some non-free repos, but...
Question. Since when is Fedora my second favorite?
I was wondering if he was going to catch that. Just throwing it out there. You got to give Fedora some love every now and then. Eli in the chat is asking, what happened to the studio? This is a different camera. I plugged in my webcam, my other camera. We were having some issues with the stream earlier, so we just plugged in some stuff just to get the stream going. We were almost 30 minutes late finally getting the stream working, from having some audio issues, some video issues, and then I started streaming with the wrong stream key, and we don't know where that stream went, but I streamed for almost 15 minutes, some video. We don't know where that went. But everything should be working now. At least you guys should be able to hear us. That's the main thing. Rocco, Big Daddy Linux, is in the chat saying, good morning. Yeah, some people are asking about webcams, the 922C is actually the webcam I'm using. And yes, it's a good webcam, so if you guys are looking for a good webcam, that's a good one to pick up. You can find it on sale a lot of times on Amazon for 70, 80 bucks, I think. Yeah, Big Daddy says, there's something wrong here. There's 60 people watching and only 18 likes. Well, I'm surprised there's 60 people still hanging around for what has been quite a train wreck of a live stream. It's been one of those live streams, Rocco. And to get 18 likes, I'm assuming those are the people that when they see like a car crash, they've got to slow down and look as they drive past. That's the people that gave us a thumbs up. Rocco, you guys getting ready for Lubuntu tonight? Big Pod, you checking out Lubuntu?
Yeah, I've been checking it out. Been actually using it.
Yeah. Of course, no NVENC, but it's a good distro. Yeah.
That's one of the main things I was doing on Ubuntu, trying to make NVENC work with OBS.
Yeah, I tried to make the previous version of Lubuntu. I had Lubuntu 1810. That's still on one of my drives in this IC dock. I never could get NVENC to work on it. I, tried kind of like you, for an hour or so, figure out what my options were, compile FFmpeg. When I realized that things just weren't working, I gave up the idea that I was actually going to record video using Lubuntu with Nvidia anyway. Matter of fact, of the 5 or 6 distros I have installed on drives on this machine, other than the Arch-based distros, the only other distro that I know NVENC works and I could make a video logging into that distro is Fedora. I do have Fedora installed on one of the drives. None of the Ubuntu-based distros work. I've got Sabian on one of those drives. I'm pretty sure Sabian doesn't have NVENC either. Matter of fact, I don't think Sabian, those guys are using an alternative to FFmpeg, libav. Yeah, so some issues there if you're an NVENC user. Has anyone tried Voyager Linux? Yeah, I just noticed on DistroWatch, Voyager has a new release out. I've tried it in the past. Not my favorite distribution, but if you want to check it out, no reason not to download the ISO, put it on a USB key. Been a while since I checked out Voyager, actually, but it's kind of a goofy distro, because the last time I checked it out, it was one of these distros that had cockies all over the desktop, like 2 or 3 docks. I was using Cairo dock, I think, the last time I used it. It uses the GNOME desktop environment, which you have built-in docks with GNOME, with the dash to dock and the dash to panel. I don't know why you would use a third-party dock. It's a strange, I don't know, mishmash of parts to me. But that's just me. And it looks like Parrot also had a release. I'm not a penetration tester, so Parrot, probably not something I would check out either. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to check out Lubuntu with you guys tonight, Big Pod and Rocco. I have it installed. I haven't really played with it much. I don't know if I can join the stream this evening or not. I'm going to try to, though. If not, I'll always catch the replay. Never miss an episode of Big Daddy Linux. By the way, those of you that want to chat with Rocco, join Big Daddy Linux Live over on the Freenode network. So pull up your favorite IRC client and type /join space, all one word, Big Daddy Linux Live. And Rocco will be hanging out there to answer all your Linux support questions. So yeah, Rocco, yeah, we hope to see you there tonight. I'm sure I'm going to check in at some point. I'm going to try to, unless something comes up. Yeah, Voyager makes a XFCE version. It's better than the GNOME version. Well, that's shocking that the XFCE version is better. I kid, GNOME users, I kid. Some people take that stuff seriously. Like that image I posted yesterday. It was a funny image I came across the internet. Let me see if I can pull that up. And people get mad at, you know, pull up the community tab here. An update is available for your computer. The Linux guy, cool, more free stuff. The Windows guy, not again. Then the Mac guy, oh, only $99. People were like, oh, come on, man, why do you gotta hate on Windows and Mac? And, you know, and then the Mac guys especially. Yes, I know that some of the recent Mac updates didn't cost you anything. They used to charge for them. Not $99, but
sure.
Yeah.
At some point they used to. 99 bucks.
Really? That's been a while. Because
well, it's been like three minor revisions back.
Yeah, because I knew they charged like $50, and then they dropped it. They kept dropping it because people complained. I guess $30 was one.
It's all free now.
Yeah, I think the last one they charged for, they dropped it all the way down to $20 for the OS update.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people were like, "Man, you're just making stuff up. Mac doesn't charge for updates." Yeah,
no, they don't.
No, not now, but yeah, right. But that doesn't mean they couldn't in the future either, right?
Oh well.
Yeah, right. But I was actually surprised because the only people that would have seen that on my community tab that got a notification would be people subscribed to the channel. And I was blown away by the number of Mac users that responded to, yeah. So a lot of people subscribed to the YouTube channel do use Mac. So,
yeah. I mean, my story is I have a Mac laptop, but I have 3 Linux boxes underneath my desk. So
yeah. Let's see. GNOME 3 on Calculate or Void Linux is fast and low on resources. Yeah, but XFCE on Calculate or Void would be much lower. Just saying, Serge. But if you like GNOME, I have played around with GNOME on Void in the past, and it's not bad. Yeah, Big Daddy. Yeah, it's hard to install. Depending on your technical skill level, most users are not going to install Arch or Gentoo. Yeah, most of your typical Linux desktop users, yeah, they're not gonna go through that trouble.
Arch maybe, Gentoo definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk to somebody through Zoom or Skype or call them on the phone. I could talk them through an Arch install pretty easy. Gentoo, I better have some minutes on that phone. I better have a unlimited plan because we're going to be on the phone for a while, depending on the compile times. Yeah.
Well, if you're going to be compiling KDE, you know.
Yes.
One day I'm gonna install Gentoo in a VM. One day, but that day probably won't be today. Maybe next year.
Right. Hey, give me a second, guys. Johan is asking, have I checked my email? I did not have my email program up. Let's see.
What do you use for email, Derek?
I have two different email clients up. Typically, I use NeoMut, which is a terminal-based email client. It works, but for the email that I was just sent, it's sent in HTML, so I immediately closed NeoMut, and I do have Geary installed. It's a graphical email client, but it looks good. It works. I've used Thunderbird for years too. I like Thunderbird, but for HTML, you know, you can't really use a terminal-based email client for HTML. It's just.
I use Wonderlust inside of Emacs.
Yeah.
Because I'm an Emacs user. Mm-hmm. To go with the Mac stuff, I'm also an Emacs guy, so I'm mostly unpopular on this channel.
Yeah, Johan, yeah, I got your email. Appreciate that, Johan. So, Johan made a donation to the channel. He's a Thunderbird user, yeah, and I would like to just use terminal-based email clients all the time, but because so many people send HTML emails, I don't know why people do that. I wish they wouldn't. Just send plain text. By the way, Johan, you want to join us on Zoom? I'll send you an email link in case you want to join us on camera. You don't have to, though. Don't feel pressured to join us. So if I can get the Zoom link here. All right, I sent you an email, Johan, if you want to join us. Yeah, and Johan is declining to join us. Maybe next time we'll catch you. No, not a lot of folks want to get on camera. For privacy reasons, especially. You know, nobody wants to share their face to the world.
I personally said that basically when I started YouTube, I gave away my privacy in many ways.
That's why I'm not too worried about it. Everybody knows exactly who I am, where I am. There's no point. Like not turning on my webcam wouldn't do anything. Yeah. So. Also, I do have an Android phone. Many people ask about, do I have a smartphone? Yes, I do. It's an Android phone.
I have a Huawei phone, even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I have what are those guys? Chinese spying on me.
Mm-hmm. And we were checking out Big Pod's email client.
No, it's Paul's.
That was Paul's email client?
Mine is Gmail in the browser.
Gmail, yeah. Now you could set up NeoMut to use your Gmail account if you wanted to check out NeoMut.
Yeah, I know, but I just use the browser. It's completely fine.
And I'm going to be honest, as much as I like a lot of terminal-based applications, and, like text-based stuff, because of the prevalence of HTML email, it's hard to stick to NeoMut. You're going to have a GUI email client installed anyway. So
one day I will have to go and get myself a domain so I can get at least an email away from Google.
Yeah, I mean, you can pay a couple of bucks a year for your own cheap domain name, and then you can get off of webmail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, using something like NeoMut, you have the option of storing all your emails locally through something like offline IMAP or iSync or any of those kind of programs that'll pull all your stuff down to your machine. That way you don't have to be connected to the internet to go back and read some of your old emails.
Most of the time I'm connected to my email, so my internet, so I don't really care for that.
Yeah.
If I'm not in the range of some Wi-Fi, I make a hotspot on my phone.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's not an issue for me either. I mean, most of the time, obviously, if I'm on one of my machines, I have internet. But if you can store all your stuff locally too, it provides an easy way to search through all your past emails. Especially if they're locally on your machine, you just pull up a terminal. You can grep something if you wanted to. Yeah. Somebody, Rocco's mentioning, if you're going to pay for email, Proton Mail is the way to go. Never used Proton Mail, but a lot of people love it.
I wouldn't just pay for my own domain to have just the email. I'll probably have a website and all.
Yeah, I would just have my own domain name anyway. I own several domain names anyway. I've already set up. I have a couple of different domains related to the YouTube channel. I registered distro.tube.com and I registered distro.tube, which is great because now I've got one pointing to a HTTP site and one pointing to a Gopher site. Keep two different things going. Which I need to play around with Gopher a little more. Eventually want to start my own flog, Gopher log. Maybe do some writing over on Gopher. We need to get more people interested in the Gopher protocol, Big Pod. We need to bring it back. That's going to be a bit more challenging than IRC because IRC wasn't dead. People still use IRC. I mean, it's not as popular,
especially in such circles as we walk in.
Yeah, but trying to get people to install a Gopher browser and view Gopher holes, people are just shaking their head like
use a dead protocol.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about Gopher in like 10 years or 15 years or something like that.
Oh, you probably haven't heard about Gopher in at least 20 years, actually. It's been that long since anybody really played around with Gopher.
It was like straight competitor for HTTP, but it lost because it couldn't evolve.
Yeah,
like HTTP hasn't. HTTP has a lot of, even then had a lot of pluses over Gopher.
Yeah.
One of them being it wasn't developed by it was developed by one of those CERN scientists. HTTP was developed in CERN, so it was even there used quite a lot.
Yeah, Gopher was created by two guys at the University of Minnesota.
So Americans.
Yeah, and I don't think it saw a couple of different updates along the way, but it hasn't really seen any kind of activity in decades.
HTTP nowadays is being used for everything.
But you know what? The old protocols, you can still use Gopher. You can still, obviously, FTP. I use FTP all the time.
FTP is quite used.
Yeah. I was looking around the other day. I've got some old books that I was going to get rid of. And I actually had some old books from like early mid-90s about computer-related stuff. And one of those books actually went into some detail about Gopher and HTTP. So back then it made sense.
Even in history of internet, they never mentioned Gopher in school. So you know how unimportant it is.
That's obscure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, yeah, there's no point in probably discussing it.
Even in history where they mentioned really dead stuff, they didn't mention Gopher, so...
Well, it's not like anything ever really evolved out of Gopher. You know, Gopher was around and then it died. So.
Well, once the HTTP came along and got traction, then it was done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to show my age here, but I was there before all of these things. Mm-hmm. And at some point, they were pretty much head-to-head Gopher and HTTP, and then the browsers came along, and then it was the end of Gopher. Actually, the search engines is what killed Gopher, really, because
absolutely,
engines, Alta Vista and the early Google and all of that's what did it.
Absolutely. The fact that we started indexing the web and it made things easier to find, where Gopher, I mean, you had the search engine Veronica that those guys at the University of Minnesota also created. I don't know the strange name, Veronica, whatever.
Archie reference? I don't know.
Yeah, it could
Probably.
be. Yeah. Or one of their girlfriends, I don't.
Because Archie was a thing, now it seems to ring a bell. The word Archie related to Gopher or protocol?
I believe actually I was reading about it, yeah.
Quick Google search.
One of the creators of Gopher, you can find YouTube videos of the guy. He does a lot of. I've seen interviews of him. Matter of fact, on what is that podcast I sometimes listen to?
Archie and Veronica were two search engines for Gopher.
Yeah, that's what I found too. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Archie also indexed FTP sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was indexing both.
Yep.
So it was basically indexing mainly the web. It wasn't really indexing Gopher.
What web there was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a lot more compared to Gopher. I mean, there was never a point where there was a large percentage of Gopher sites out there. It was always kind of that other protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find that podcast that. Is it This Week in Tech, I think? Anyway, a couple of years ago, they actually interviewed one of the guys that created Gopher, like a half-hour interview, and it's pretty fascinating if you're interested in some of the history back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Archie, comics. I'm not a comic guy, so that's probably why I don't catch the Archie and Veronica reference. But good catch on that, Paul.
I'm not an avid Archie fan, but
And we got some more email talk. Thunderbird kicked me off, and Microsoft wanted me to enter a long string of numbers to log into each account on 5 computers and do it over and over again when I reinstall, which is often. So you're doing something at work, I'm assuming, with email? Yeah. All right. We've got 68 people watching the stream. So those of you that arrived kind of late, you didn't miss much for the first 30 minutes. So have you done any hopping lately, Big Pod, other than Lubuntu?
Not really.
Not really, yeah. Paul, what are you running?
Lubuntu for a bit, and on the main machine, I have a mail server and like a personal quote unquote thing. They're all Lubuntu, but I end up installing Stump WM as a window manager, and using it like in that type of stuff. And lastly, I built myself a fast little machine to do just video encoding and decoding, and I ended up installing Ubuntu minimal install. And I still don't have a desktop on that. I just use it from SSH and put files over there, start the compression, get the files back, and that's it. But yeah, Ubuntu.
Just quickly here.
I started off Debian, and then I went Ubuntu.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat was asking about how to join the stream. This stream is going to be for my patrons that are joining me on camera if you belong to my Patreon. Also, you have to have the Zoom client. If you're asking about Zoom, how do you install it? Yes. Could you install it with apt in Ubuntu? No, because it's not open source software. The only thing in the Ubuntu repositories is free software. So Zoom, you would have to install
that package.
They make a deb.
Yeah.
So they make a deb package. I think they make do they make a flat pack or a snap? I'm not sure.
I believe there is a flat pack, but it's not made by them. It's made by someone else.
If you're on an Arch-based distro, it is in the AUR for sure. And they also have a package that you just unzip it and it runs. It's distro agnostic. It's just, you download the tar GZ or whatever.
Portable pre-built.
Yeah. File. And I have used that. I used it on Solus on one of my laptops when I ran Solus for about 3 months. So it works on any distro.
It's actually what apt or something does. It unzips its package into a directory, which is then accessed by a command. Nothing. It's basically the same thing. Just there you do it yourself, and you put it in whatever directory you want.
I wonder if it's some kind of Electron app or something like that.
Zoom, I'm not sure if they're Electron based or not.
Like Slack is using.
I think I used a Snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Zoom has a couple of different packages, but let me see if I do a quick Google for Zoom and Snap. Yeah, they have a Snap pack. It's actually
Zoom
hosted on
Qt, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly show my browser here. There is a package on GitHub, zoom.us-snap. I don't know if that's the Zoom guys packaging that snap or somebody else built it. But either way, you do have a snap available, I think. Is there a flat pack? Let's see. If I go to download for Windows, I don't want to download for Windows, but choose a Linux type. And it has downloads for Ubuntu, Debian, Mint, Oracle, CentOS, Red Hat, Fedora, SUSE, Arch, and then the other Linux OS. The other Linux OS is the tar. And all of them work. I've tried them all at some point.
Yeah.
Because I install Zoom on every install I do, if I'm going to do something like this.
I personally use AUR one.
Yeah, I install it from the AUR as well. And people often ask me, like, if I have these multiple formats to choose from, Snap, Flatpak, install it from the AUR, or install from pip, or whatever, depending on what programming language it's written in, Cabal, if it's a Haskell program. How do you pick which one you install from? Typically, I don't think about it. I go to their GitHub or GitLab page, and whatever the first installation instruction is, that's usually as far as I read, and I go with that. So I don't overthink it too much, and I don't think it really matters which way you install it. Does the program run after you install it?
Because funny enough, mainly it's actually the same thing. It just pulls down the binaries and plus them to a directory, and that's it. And links the a file to a /user/bin directory, or make a script there, and probably makes the .desktop file in /user/share/applications.
Yeah, they all should respect the standards as far as, all the configuration stuff should be in /etc and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's putting all the files in the same place. At the end of the day, it's all the same. So, well, I guess not with Snap and Flatpak.
Most software that puts /user/share or in /opeta, depending on how it's installed. Most AORs put it in opeta, others put /usr/share. At least that's how convention goes. But they can make it however they want.
Yeah. But traditionally, most people don't use that /opt directory anymore. But yeah, if you were building something from source, that's kind of where you would stick that thing.
It's mainly meant for a user to put it there.
Right. That's where if I built a package myself, I'm going to stick it there instead of sticking it with the other programs in /bin. So
I'll put it there. Normally, software as far as I see is in /usr/share.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
And D-Hacker
myself.
D-Hacker is asking I get this question all the time. Is Python very, very slow in comparison to the C language, depending on the task? Yeah.
No, Python is by itself very, very slow because it's actually a higher level language.
Yeah.
Maybe it's higher or not. I don't remember anymore what's the relation, but I believe lower level better, higher level are worse. Or I don't know what's what. I don't remember the first year of programming anymore.
Yeah. Well, it also depends on what you want to do with it. Like people are fearful. Why would I learn Python to do some simple Python scripting when it's a slow language? Well, what are you doing? I mean, if you're not doing anything where it matters, I wouldn't script in C. I wouldn't do.
Sure, go with Python.
It's more comfortable than shell scripting. I mean, it's more readable than shell scripting.
Yeah, it is.
That's basically the level at which I use it personally. Is not, it's better it's more readable than Perl, but it's for me it kind of saves the same purpose as Perl.
It is.
I personally program mainly in C#. Being its fan for a long time, like I'm kind of a fan of Microsoft. It's what I was using like for quite a while, a couple of years now. First tried Java and I didn't like it. I personally hated it, to be told. Now I know both kinda more C# and I'm still sticking with it. For me, it's better, and mainly it works for most tasks. Even now on Linux, which is great.
But
at work I do C++ and C# mostly, and Python when I need to do some.
Yeah, but I see people out there that spout this nonsense of quit using Python and just code everything, and a program like C or Haskell would also be very fast. But
I say C, don't use C or C++ even if you don't program something that is a low-level program.
Yeah.
Even servers nowadays, server software, if it isn't something that is latency heavy or is something like, for example, a desktop environment, it's gonna give you headaches writing it, and it's gonna take much longer for it to write it than you can do with something like C#, Python, Java, or many other languages that are newer, more modern, and have more libraries out of the box and are more made for such tasks nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, first, the best language is the one you know, right?
Yeah.
If you
well, like I said,
the best, and you feel the best using it.
Well, use the right tool for the right job. For most basic, like Unix, Linux scripting, Python. I mean, I would definitely use Python for all that stuff. There's no reason not to.
I am such a Python noob. I don't know anything about Python that I actually write my open box pipe menus in such a way that my C# code generates Python code.
Wow. I was about to say you're not using C# with OpenBox, but I guess you
No,
are.
Well,
It's not that.
you could use Mono, right?
Yeah, but even C# .NET Core would work, but I don't know why it doesn't actually generate the pipe menu. So basically, what I do, like once a day, I do it refreshes the code basically because I have a file structure where I keep all the source code. So I have it in my pipe menu. I see all this, so I can see all the source code by different languages, and if I click it, it opens it in the main IDE for that language. So
depending on the pipe menus too, if they're simple, Bash. I mean, just OpenBox handles Bash scripting. So
main reason why I used C# is because it was the best one I knew how to do file structures and file stuff. That's why I use that, and that one just basically generates Python code. I made a library specifically for that.
Yeah,
that does the whole OpenBox thing, and then it every day.
Kind of buffering a little
runs, generates a new, and it's opened by OpenBox and Python code runs.
And people often ask me if I notice a speed difference using Qtile. I'm actually in Qtile today, or Xmonad, which is written in Haskell, or DWM, which is written in C, and I don't really notice a speed difference. Now, this is just a window manager, though, right? It's just the thing that puts the window on the screen. It determines
it.
While
so that makes sense.
Could make a difference, like Python, for such tasks. Most of the time, you won't notice difference at all.
Yeah. So if you're wondering about the speed or the performance of Qtile is just fine, but it's just a window manager. But file managers, which is a more complicated task. If you look at Ranger, which is written in Python, and look at VIFM, you will notice speed differences and NNN, and depending on what they're written in, Ranger is slow, especially you open up bigger directories. Why? Python.
Yeah, actually for Qtile, I believe they actually compile Python into C#, not C#, C.
Ooh. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, C#. Wow.
It's me. Into C or C++, something like that. I can see that you can compile Python to automatically if you want, and then it's run in. It's again compiled into, but I don't know, into what could be considered machine language, even though that's a wrong thing to say, because even C, C++, all of these languages compile into some intermediary language that is understood by, for example, GCC or GCC libraries more specifically, because none of these programs are compiled to machine code that we could really say it's machine code. And that's actually a big misconception about 99.9% of languages. Only language that I actually know that does that is assembler, which is by itself, a machine language.
By definition.
Yeah. Otherwise, most languages are compiled to some sort of intermediary code that is understood by libraries that then run, so it actually works. So that's why, for example, code that is built by GCC won't run on Android.
Wow. Because of,
for example, for a terminal based.
Yeah, it depends on what you
terminal code which on Android. It won't work because it isn't built for Bionic, which is
it builds it for that architecture
for Android.
Yeah.
No, it builds it for GCC. If you make it with GCC, it builds for GCC, for GCC-based libraries, for example, iOS Streamer and stuff like that. While Google uses their own implementation of C and C++ called Bionic, which is in which is different than GCC. So it actually doesn't actually GCC built programs won't work dynamically linked. While if you build it statically linked, they most of the time will work.
So the GCC compiler on Android is not actually.
Android doesn't actually use GCC compiler at all.
Okay.
It uses a Bionic compiler made by Google itself. It's a special compiler for C and C++ that was made by Google just for Android.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it started, Android was all Java.
Yeah, but then the underlying stuff were made by C or C++, I don't know which one.
Mm-hmm.
So they would gain some speed. And now just UI and user level stuff is Java and Kotlin. I believe it's the one they use nowadays.
So how much is Android Java now? Is it still mainly just a big Java stack, or is there more parts to it than?
A lot of user level stuff is Java.
Yeah.
A lot of user level stuff is Java, and more basis C, C++, and even some Python here and there. But fair enough, you can actually use C# to make Android applications.
Yeah, I currently have 1,404 packages installed on Arco Linux. This 3-week install. And
I have on my mainline Arch 1,263.
And people are going to be amazed how I have 1,400 and something packages installed on this. How did I get this thing so bloated? I have 6 different window managers.
I believe I have more.
Yeah. And these window managers are small. I mean, it's i3, Herbstluft, Awesome, DWM, Xmonad, and Qtile. 6 different window managers, probably written in 6 different languages. So I've got all the Lewis stuff on the machine. I've got Python. I got all the Haskell stuff.
I have KDE on here.
Ouch.
Budgie, or maybe not on this machine. I don't remember if I installed it after I did the reinstall. Possibly didn't. I just have a lot less user programs.
Yeah.
I got 2,295 packages on mine.
Wow. That could be considered bloat.
But it's also the fact that I have some packages that I compiled myself that I didn't actually put into the package format, which nowadays normally do.
Yeah, and some
just easier to control.
Or what desktop environment are you running, Ansem?
Well, I got 5 machines. They all run Ubuntu from 1604 to 1804. One's on 1904. And the one in my production, the one I'm on now, is Umix. It's the Ubuntu 1804 running Unity by Tony George.
Okay. Yeah, I was a big Unity fan. If I was going to run a full desktop environment, Unity was great.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I was a big Unity hater. I still am. Ironically.
Yeah, I don't do big desktops anymore. I just do, like I was saying, StumpWM, which I had to install a Linux Lisp compiler for.
Yeah.
So if you want to try it, Derek, it's one more language to
do something with
install.
Lisp. Yeah, why not? Might as well install Emacs while I'm at it, huh? If I'm going to go with Lisp.
Well, that's a rabbit hole you don't want to get into.
Yeah,
I've been using Emacs for 30 years, so.
Well, it makes sense.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
I stay away from all the what are called terminal-based editors. I just use VS Code and that's it. And and for example, for Java, I use IntelliJ because it's the best for the job.
Yeah, but eventually you're going to be out there.
Did you see that compile they did of VS Code, VS Codium?
Yep.
It's like Chromium
Yeah, I saw that, but I
installed it.
I use the Microsoft version because
Microsoft?
Because Microsoft, basically, I anyway give them data, so what the hell?
If you're running Windows, especially, I mean, you might as well.
I use a couple of their services, so what the hell?
Yeah.
You've already drank the Kool-Aid, so I mean, I just want
they won't get that much more information from me. Maybe some crappy code I write, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the guy who will check it out will puke and delete all my history.
And Big Pod, you can continue to program in VS Code. It's a fine editor. But, once you get out there in the real world and you start administering these Unix-based operating systems, you're going to have to know VI.
I know one thing.
How to
get out of it. And then how to install Nano.
:Q, that's all you need to know.
Yeah. And then I know how to install Nano on everything.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to do that just on any machine.
:Q doesn't save. Don't tell him that. Shift Z.
Oh, that's right.
Or :WQ.
No, :Q will not quit if you've made changes to the document, though. It's going to warn you. :Q exclamation point is the one that forces it to quit. Yeah.
Most servers that installation of servers come with Nano, so that's not a problem. Actually, I haven't encountered a Linux distro that wouldn't have Nano installed by default.
Yeah, I play around with Debian and Ubuntu servers sometimes, and the Nano is on those. CentOS also has
what is actually used as a server. And CentOS is a server with graphical interface.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what most servers are.
Yeah, but one day you're going to come across that server that's not going to have Nano. It's not going to be connected to the internet. You've got to do something.
Then I'm going to take my phone and search on it.
Yeah, the chat stopped scrolling. Yeah, I see that.
For sure, the basics of VI is a good thing to know, I think. Just in case, you never know. At least learn how to quit it and insert and escape. Mm-hmm. Once you've got that, you can manage.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why the YouTube chat stopped scrolling, but I reloaded it and it's working now. Okay. And we're just having all kinds of issues with this stream today.
It's cursed.
Yeah, it is.
Did you sacrifice a chicken?
Not today.
Oh, jeez. Then that's it.
Yeah, Vim is fine, but VI does weird things when I try to use it. I don't know what that means. Weird things.
Show colors?
I don't know. Oh. When are you going to introduce us to Emacs? I would have to learn Emacs. That's kind of a big learning curve.
I can do that, but it's too long.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that somebody that actually uses Emacs should make a video about Emacs.
I use it every day, but it's so crafty. I mean, the keystrokes are so much under my fingers now that it's very difficult to explain. Xalee has XAHLEE has a tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to get into. Now what they have is they have all these prepackaged config files like Spacemax and Prelude and all of that stuff. And to me, they feel kind of strange because I have my own Emacs config that I've had for 20 years.
Right. From my understanding, is the point of Emacs is you basically write your own config. You basically create your own text editor, essentially. So it kind of defeats the purpose to be spoon-fed, the text editor.
It kind of gives you a leg up, but then you have to learn something that's not quite Emacs.
Yeah.
And then if you want to modify it, then when you get to chat with people, you're spewing out strange key bindings or strange functions or whatever. So it's like when you try window managers and you have your own keyboard shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody who doesn't have that, anyways.
Yes, we need a standard. We need it standard keyboard shortcuts. Like if I'm in a graphical desktop environment, like GNOME, KDE, XFCE, whatever distro, I expect Control-Alt-T to bring up a terminal. Just because that's the way it is on 90% of distros. But that 10% that for some reason don't set that to a default, now I've got to figure out how to bring up a terminal. Yes, I know I can use the mouse and go through the menu, maybe do a search, but it's so nice just to Control-Alt-T. Boom.
Actually, Alt-T brings in OpenBox as GNOME terminal.
That's one of the default key bindings, or did you add that?
Because I enabled it in GNOME settings.
See, I'm more of a typer myself. All I need is like the equivalent of the run, like what's it, Alt F2 or Alt R, a run box, and then I type stuff. That's how I work, really. So if I want a terminal, I'll go run box and then type ST, and I'll have a terminal. So.
Yeah, and tiling window managers, the first thing I try to bring up usually is some kind of run command launcher, like a D menu or Rofi if it's installed. So I always check out mod R. If that doesn't work, mod P sometimes is the other key. And if neither one of those work, then I have to bring up the config and read the config.
Or read the manual or something.
Yeah. I have my Rofi to mod base.
Yeah, you cut out there for a little bit, Big Bud.
I have my Rofi on mod space.
Mod space, yeah.
Yeah, Rofi's pretty good. I meant to try that one out.
Yeah. And eventually I need to do a video on Arco Awesome. I'm actually going to check out Eric Dubois' Arco Awesome configs because it looks great.
Didn't you already do an Awesome?
I'm sorry. You were cutting out again. I think
Awesome. Did you?
Arco Awesome. Interesting.
Arco Awesome. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
So, I haven't logged into the Awesome Window Manager on this machine. I haven't configured it to my configs because I want to check out Eric Dubois' configs. And when I first installed it, it looks really good. He has a lot of programs installed too. He has both dmenu and Rofi. And he has key bindings to launch either one, which is kind of weird. But he had 3 different web browsers installed and half a dozen text editors. Some of those I've already gotten rid of. I wasn't going to keep Atom or Sublime. I got rid of kind of bloated programs. I kept Genie. Vim's already on the system, of course. Nano is already installed as well. But I didn't need Mousepad was also... like I said, there's half a dozen text editors. It's strange to have that many text editors. But their configuration for Awesome Window Manager looks really good. And Awesome is interesting because it's very much like DWM, except it's much more configurable. Awesome is a fork of DWM from years back.
Oh, yeah.
They basically took DWM and wanted to make it extensible using Lua, where you couldn't really do much with configuring DWM other than, of course, the patching. Everybody hates the patching.
And writing your own code.
Yeah.
In C.
Yeah. Of course, the suckless guys, love DWM, and they just think Awesome is the worst thing ever. Why would you use Lua to configure your... Why not?
It's the bastard child.
Right. Can you imagine?
About so many key bindings and all that by in Arca. Eric, basically one of the things Eric wants for user to do to choose his own key bindings down the road.
Right.
The final point of Arca is so you install your own Arch.
Right. And that's, I'm going to change that config in a massive way. I'm not going to use any other programs that he uses, and I'm going to change all the key bindings to the key bindings I'm used to. So yeah, obviously you have to kind of write your own config at some point anyway.
That's why I just installed mainline Arch.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I should have logged into the Awesome Window Manager session for this video today just to check it out. Oh, well, we may do that later this week. Yeah, I used KDE Neon last time I used Plasma. KDE Neon is interesting. For stability reasons, though, I think I would just stick to Kubuntu. Not that KDE Neon is unstable, but if you really want to be on the latest Plasma, you can use Kubuntu and then just use the back ports. Yeah, can someone tell me why you would install Manjaro Arco when you can just install Arch?
Pre-built.
Yeah.
It's automatic. It's basically a Calamaris installer, or at worst, in Manjaro's case, Architect installer.
Yeah.
And the other thing is actually has pre-made and pre-decorated desktop environments and window managers, which makes it for some people really cool.
It depends on what you want. Like if you install mainline Arch and you install GNOME or Plasma, you're getting vanilla GNOME, vanilla Plasma as those devs intended it. It's not really configured. And, you know, there's no extensions added. So, for example, I mentioned I'm going to check out Arco Linux Awesome Window Manager Edition. It's because I want to check out what the Arco guys did with the Awesome Window Manager, their configs, and how they set it up. Where if I just install mainline Arch and install the Awesome Window Manager, when I first log in, it's not configured in any way at all.
Yeah, like it's mainline Arch stuff.
Right. So now, if I was doing that for myself, I was an Awesome Window Manager user. I already have my own configs. Yeah, it makes sense to install Arch, then just pull down my configs from GitLab, and boom, I'm ready to go. But you know, I want to check out some of these other guys' distros too, what they're doing with their window managers and their desktops. Also, the speed of installation could be an issue, although a mainline install of Arch is not that long. It's definitely a little longer than installing something like Manjaro with the graphical installer. Manjaro, the install is like 10 minutes, you're done. So the other thing with Manjaro is Manjaro holds packages back a little bit.
Yeah, they have repositories, special repositories, which they have 3 sets of repositories. Unstable, which is basically follows Arch as close as possible. Then they have testing, which is like I believe a week after it was released. And then it's stable, which is like combination updates every so often plus security updates.
Yeah, so their standard repo is like 2 weeks behind Arch.
Even more sometimes.
Yeah. So
when testing and unstable get all the problems out, that's when they will culminate and do a big update.
And their thoughts on that is, you know, if something major breaks in an update with Arch, they've got a couple of weeks to let things get ironed out before those updates show up in their repos.
You will feel it like those who use, at least I use testing, so I felt like stuff like that. But mainly, nobody felt who is stable. Right. Except sometimes people make weird stuff when updating, and then problems happen. Like, for example, for Chris Titus, when he updated, he had problems and his system died almost.
He had problems updating Manjaro or Arch?
Yeah, KDE version of Manjaro.
Oh, okay.
Because it was in forum post, was noted that because of the high amount of KDE and Qt updates, updating while running KDE could cause problems.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So you have to do it while in TTY.
Yeah.
And what he blamed it on? PAMAC.
A lot of people do. A lot of people complain that it's PAMAC when you update. That's the issue. I don't know. I don't know why that would matter, whether you do it at the command line or...
PAMAC is just, the GUI for PAMAC is just a front end for PAMAC that is CLI version, which is in fact just a front end for Pac-Man.
Right.
Basically,
well, every software center out there, the Ubuntu software, all of them, Discover and KDE, they're all just a front end to the actual command line.
Front end.
Yeah.
Basically, it runs the command.
Right. You click on install in the Ubuntu Software Center. It's basically like typing sudo apt install. Yeah, right. That's all it does. It's running that same command. It's just you pointed and clicked on it instead of having to type it. So.
Yeah, it's nothing more. Other people don't understand that.
Yeah, well, no, there is a difference because when I use a software center on Ubuntu, look for software, I can't find it, I'll go in command line or Synaptic and find it.
The
software centers don't capture everything.
That's something different. That's because of the fact how it is, how repositories give data and how software centers pull it from those repositories. It's software center problem. Even though the data exists, software center doesn't know how to show it correctly, so they don't show it at all. It's the problem because how the repositories might sometimes write something differently than normal, and that's why.
Okay, I get that part. But like if I go in the software center and check for updates, it'll say none. I can go into command line and find a bunch of updates.
Yeah, again, same problem because you don't actually it's really weird, these software centers, how they're programmed sometimes. But most of the time it should be okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they should make it consistent.
Sometimes they're written weirdly. That's why it's not consistent. Like it does upgrade, but it doesn't do update, for example.
Do you guys ever run into a problem like it's updating one of these graphical software centers and the update to the program itself breaks? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't use graphical software centers.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I was there.
CLI.
I was just wondering, how that works when the software center itself has to have an update,
I've seen the update come down, but I've never noticed it break anything when it does do that.
Because it would just seem strange. The program that's doing the updates also needs to update, and that would scare me. I just do everything at the command line. Yeah, and Zeb is in the chat. Good morning, afternoon, evening, Zeb. I wish I could go to Southeast Linux Fest and meet the great Zeb in person, but I'm not going to be able to make it, unfortunately. Maybe one day I'll get over to the UK, be able to shake Zeb's hand in person. I know a lot of people are excited about Southeast Linux Fest this year because of Zeb, the rock star. A lot of people are making that trip just for you, Zeb. If it wasn't such a distance and I didn't have to work, I would be right there with them. Yeah, firewall is more important than antivirus in Windows. I would say both are important. You don't have to use one or the other.
I don't use both.
Yeah. I'm assuming you have a firewall up. Yeah.
I disable firewall first thing I installed Windows.
No, big pride.
Yeah. I have a firewall on my router.
Okay.
I'm with Big Pod on this one.
Yeah.
No firewalls at home.
First of all, I have a NAT-based network, so that is kind of protection, and I block all not-needed ports anyways. Yep. Actually, sometimes I loop them on a random machine just to see what happens.
So, Paul, you have some Windows machines, and you don't use a firewall on those?
No, I don't have Windows machines.
Okay.
Thank God.
So you're talking about on Linux?
My son has a Windows laptop, but yeah, it's his problem.
Okay.
I have I'm on Windows at work. And I have IT guys to manage it, so it's not my responsibility. Here, it's all either Mac or Linux.
Yeah, as far as on Linux, if you want to run a firewall, I would still maybe recommend it. There's no harm in doing it. Antivirus is not necessary, obviously, at all. So
on Windows, antivirus is not necessary if you just think about what you're doing. If you do not click everything, and with that I mean everything. I actually never got a virus by accident. Twice I got it by not accident.
So when somebody links me a exe file over on 4chan and I don't know what it is, I shouldn't just execute that?
No.
Well, on my machine, I got ESET's antivirus for Linux installed just because everybody in my house uses Windows and they put stuff on the server. So I like to be able to scan what they're putting on the server.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a good idea to scan your email directory if you got email stored locally on a Linux box. Wow. So you don't forward them to people with Windows machines and they get infected.
Yeah. I got virus one time, and that was because I was fixing someone's computer, and his computer was ridden with viruses. I reinstalled Windows and connected it to my network, and forgot to format the SD card. SD card was full of viruses. Basically, that was the reason viruses was on there, and viruses spread on one machine in the network directly onto my old desktop. Like, why exactly my old desktop? You had 6 machines that aren't so much important. Why exactly my desktop?
Yeah. And Johan in the chat says the default firewall on Windows and Peppermint's what he's using, and the best antivirus is the user. Yeah, I would agree. The user is the big problem with viruses.
Like some computer guys say, problem is between keyboard and chair. Yeah.
Well, it's like my son. He's on Windows 10, and he don't use antivirus.
Ouch.
At all. He's never used it. He's never gotten a virus. It just depends on where you go, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's incredible, actually.
Yeah. I know. I can't believe it either, but
I think back in the days of Windows 7, I believe they did a test, and like an unpatched, or is it XP or 7, an unpatched Windows machine plugged straight into the internet would last about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
XP was the last version of Windows I ran full time, and I can tell you XP was wide open. It was bad.
You plug that straight into your modem, and in 15 minutes you're owned. I mean, it's like, well.
Yeah. Only problem really that I found that in last couple of years that actually got people on Windows was that virus, what is called WannaCry, which was basically using a Windows vulnerability. And targeted all computers 7 and down, like last year. And I had one machine in my networks that was Windows 7, and that machine didn't network secure. Nearby company, it's like a big company, but the companies, that company got fully hacked. And I was just clapping when I heard it. Because they didn't protect their network.
Yeah.
And it's a multinational company.
Now, you're starting to see more Linux distributions now, I've noticed, enabling firewall. Like, some of the bigger distributions. Like, you don't even have to go and turn it on anymore. They're offering it like in the installer.
I know Ubuntu has one and OpenSUSE has one.
Yeah.
That I know for 100% that they have, and I believe Fedora as well.
Yeah. Well, even on my router, I have the firewall set up, and it's pretty strict. I still enable them on my computers.
I don't because I do a lot of stuff with, like, on many of my computers I have like either a web server, stuff like that, and sometimes those idiotic firewalls interfere with that stuff.
Yeah. It's actually.
That's why I just have, for outside, I have a firewall on my router. That's it. It basically, just what it needs is open, and that's it. So internet runs normally.
Yeah, in the chat, Telstra says a firewall is more important. You can't see what's pinging your router unless you're super smart and vigilant. You can see what you're doing.
In many ways, firewall actually won't help you see what's pinging you. It will just basically not send back. That's it. The router won't send back if you have a firewall on a router, which is actually what pinging in most cases does. It sends a message to router. Router sees it's a ICMI message and sends it back.
Yeah, Zeb is saying, the firewall
if you have
logs
those logs,
yeah.
If you save those logs, most.
So I'm assuming,
don't.
Like on an Ubuntu-based system, they use GUFY, the uncomplicated firewall. Yeah, there's logs you could read.
But most commercial routers don't save logs, at least not user-accessible logs. That's actually what most networks actually secured by those routers, by those firewalls. And even those data don't even come to computer's firewall. That could be problematic.
I guess at the end of the day, do we really need a firewall? Probably not. I mean, are we expecting any of our machines to be hacked? As far as our desktop, laptop machines, obviously, you're doing server stuff. Maybe
by someone who thinks he might get some money out of you, and that's like he gets the money from one of like 100 people.
Yeah, he's gonna get money from me. Yeah, how's he gonna get money? The only thing he could rip off of my system is does he want my Xmonad configs? I mean, I don't know what he's gonna.
I personally would rather lose my data than give money to some hacker.
Oh no, I would never pay. That's why I'm on Linux. Is because that's how.
Even if they hack my Linux, I just wipe, go. Who cares? I probably get the data back. Most important data is on 3 different backups. What's not important is not important.
That's why I'm on Linux, though. I've told the story. You know, I had a Windows XP machine years ago that was taken over by ransomware. You know, basically the hackers are holding my machine hostage. I can pay them some money, and they'll give me the antivirus to get my machine back. No, format the drive. I'm not paying you guys any money.
That actually happened to a family member, and they hijacked it. She was actually paying them so she could get out her computer.
Yeah, and then you have to hope that. Yeah. Did it actually fix the computer?
Yeah, it is. She could actually get into it, but they made sure, like a couple days every month, you need to pay.
I was about to say, so it's got to be an ongoing scam. You know, they got to keep infecting you.
Oh, yeah, it don't stop. No. Yeah. Finally, I found out about it, and I ended up hitting Linux Lite on the machine. So
that's good. Yeah.
Somebody tried that with my mother as well, and she actually called somebody on the phone, and they were rude and everything. And said, "Mom, they're crooks.
Yeah,
you know, these are not nice people."
My son did the same thing. He called him before we did all this just to see what he could get. Rise up and all that. And it was pretty good conversation.
I bet.
Yeah, in the chat, Master is asking, Linux comes with a firewall? Yeah, most distributions will ship with one. It won't be enabled by default, but it'll be there.
IP tables, I think, is everywhere, right?
Or is it UFW?
UFW.
UFW on Ubuntu-based distros. Fedora uses not UFW. They use a different one. Is it FireGel or they use a different firewall program? But yes, most of them will have a firewall program. Obviously, Arch and Gentoo will not because you have to install everything on right. But all right, yeah. So it's about 12 o'clock here. So let's get a last word from everybody, and then I'm gonna head out, grab a bite to eat, Gonna head to the gym. I might join you guys that are gonna join Rocco this evening. Maybe, I don't know. I might give a little overview of Lubuntu as well, since I do have it installed, Lubuntu 1904. So I think, what time does Rocco usually start? Usually like 7 in the evening my time. I should be back for then.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Six my time.
Yeah. Any of you guys that are not subscribed to Big Daddy Linux Live, those guys in the chat, yeah, make sure you check out Big Daddy Linux Live later this evening. Yeah, Zeb in the chat, would be good to see you, Derek. Yeah, I haven't been able to catch you guys on camera in a while. I typically join the streams late because I've been working every Saturday night, and typically I get off and I arrive halfway through the stream, sometimes only catch like the last 30 minutes. I'm actually off work today, so I should be able to catch the entire program tonight. Let's get a last word from everybody. Paul, send us out with some wise words of wisdom.
Oh, geez, I wasn't expecting this.
Okay.
The right side pedal is for going faster, and the middle pedal is to go slower. That's all the wisdom I have. Sorry.
Wait, the right and the middle. So there's no left pedal.
There's no ball. I drive automatic. So.
Okay, so yeah, okay. So I'm a standard guy.
Okay, the middle pedal is the important one. The right one gets you into trouble.
Paul, automatic transmissions are bloat. You know that.
I know that. I drive manual, but my wife owns the car and she drives automatic. So.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today, Paul. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
All right.
I drive manual only.
What?
Give us a last word, Big Pod.
Thank you for watching us. And if you haven't been on the DistroTube's IRC, come join us. We're going to see how nerds actually talk. Join us.
Yeah, a matter of fact, yeah, DistroTube on the Freenode network. I'm actually going to leave for a couple hours here in a minute, but then I'm going to come back. I'm going to have IRC up all day. Anybody wants to hang out, even if I'm not there, you're going to have plenty of people to chat with. A lot of really cool Linux talk, tech talk, life talk goes on in that channel. So, and Big Pod sometimes likes to debate people. So. All right, Ansem, give us a last word, sir.
Great stream as always, and Unix and Ubuntu for the win.
Yeah, I need to check out Unix because, like I said, I love Unity, so I need to check that one out. All right, thanks, Ansem. Thanks, Big Pod. Thanks, Paul. Thanks to everybody in the YouTube chat, too, for hanging out. I know this stream, we struggled to get through this stream. The first 30 minutes of this stream was a complete nightmare because of technical issues, so I do apologize. Yeah, we streamed for 15 minutes somewhere else, and then when we were streaming, we didn't have video, bad audio. It was just bad. This is Linux, though. What do I always say? Linux should hurt a little. So. Of course, before I go, let me give a quick shout out to the patrons. Obviously, I've got the patrons here, but these guys that didn't make it today, the show made possible. Ansem, who is here, and then Carlos, Chris, Douglas, Dylan, Leo, Rob, Robert, Tony. Those guys rock. Also, all those other names you see on the screen. I want to thank each and every one of the supporters for what they do to help me do what I do. All right, guys. Peace.
Later.
Later.